All right, welcome back to Fancy Pundits one last time.
Yep,
Jim
right.
Wilson, Kevin Shea. We wrap up the season here on the final frenzy of the year. And Jim, as we look back on the 2018 season, maybe teams that weren't playing today at Gillette Stadium or this weekend at Gillette Stadium, that maybe surprised you or impressed this year?
That weren't playing at Gillette?
That weren't there.
You know, I think it was a good year because not only do we have like the regulars like Lacombe and Valley Tech and Nipmuc, who pretty much, booked their tickets to Gillette in September. I think this was a good year to watch those programs that made the leap. Like Tantascwa, had a great season. John Hargis did a great job with that team. They're finally rounding into form. They get some good players coming back, like Ryan Searson, is back next year running the ball. That's going to help them so they continue on the path they did. Like Millbury, another team that made the leap, made the playoffs. Burncoat's back in the playoffs. BMR had a big playoff win over Maynard. I mean, I think that's a good way for these programs to sort of say, listen to their coaches. What we've been telling you for the last 3 or 4 years, where we've been down out of the playoffs, it's working. And just keep the faith, keep lifting in the offseason. It's good things are going to happen.
Millbury 17 juniors that powered that class this past year, and they lost to Littleton in the playoffs, Kev.
That'll be good.
Teams that aren't at Gillette this weekend.
I like Prouty. I like the leap that Prouty made. They have tiny numbers, and that's never going to change. Their numbers probably go down in the school the next couple years, but they did a great job. They had some big wins. Early in the year, they got some big wins. I thought that program had a really good season. I thought Doherty did too. Doherty 9-2 again. They graduated a lot of linemen from last year's team. They graduated a lot of talent, and they just, they still had talent, obviously, but they put together some big wins. And, they were the #1 seed going into the playoffs. That was another good season for Sean Mulcahy's team, and him and his coaching staff deserve a lot of credit. And Assabet, another one that had a really good season and, was going toe-to-toe with the heavyweights in that division.
So this was the year to get St. John's, right? A lot of juniors and young guys coming back. Those seniors did a great job, and they won Central Massachusetts. So St. John's is coming back, fully loaded. Tantasco's got a lot of juniors.
Yeah.
Shepherd Hill has a lot of juniors. Anthony Orienti, their junior captain. Millbury, we already mentioned. There are a lot of teams poised to have big years that might be playing on this day a year from now.
Leominster's another one. I think
Leominster,
Leominster, they're going to get a new coach.
Yep.
But Leominster's a team that has a lot of young guys, and they're a team that just got better and better with each week. And
they didn't have a bad loss all year.
And the last couple weeks of the season, they were rolling. And you're right. And I said it early in the year. Remember, we talked about them and said, this is not an 0-5 team. If you watch them play, they're much better. They just didn't have the depth early in the season to hang with the big teams. But, there's a lot of young kids in that program, and I think Leominster's going to be back.
And obviously great years, St. Bernard's, Neshoba, Nipmuc, and Blackstone Valley Tech. Blackstone Valley Tech, Arch had said it all along. You said it. They pretty much booked their tickets to Gillette in December of last year, ready to go, and kind of knew they were going to be in this position. But then the kids backed it up, and the coaches backed it up. Neshoba's always seems to be there. Is there one of these 4 teams that their trip to this point is most impressive, or
You know what, Neshoba, I think. I mean, we talked about them all year. I sort of jumped off the bandwagon a little bit towards the end where they sort of faltered, but they got right back. Sam Belinsky, Division IV MVP. He's really one of the more underrated quarterbacks in Central Mass. He's done the job every week. He doesn't put up the flashy numbers like a Collins Schofield will, but he just gets the job done. He completes almost all his passes. He has great talent around him. There's a reason why they're always at Gillette. And he's been there for 4 years, doing a great job with that program.
And he's a physical kid.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He's 230, 235, and he wants to run kids over. Alex Child's another one who came over to this country when he was like 8 years old, and so he's learning English. Then he's learning the sport of football. He's a really good player. And also I want to mention, too, because Danny Boyle is retiring from North, and he's been the head coach at North for the last 10 years, was assistant before that. Danny Boyle has done such a great job of being a role model and a mentor to so many kids in that North High program. And I just say congratulations to you, Coach Boyle. You have been everything that a coach should be in high school football, and I just want to congratulate you on a great run because he's been awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic. That program has been in good hands for the last 20 years with him and Mike Ross and those guys. You can't say enough about Boyle. He's more than a coach for all these kids.
Yeah, he teaches AP classes at North High, so he does a tremendous job, and they got a win for him on Thanksgiving to send him off.
Which is nice.
Send him off a winner from the Polar Bears. All right, the teams, what about Nipmuc? I mean, Nipmuc 3 times in a row, they're in the state semifinals. They make it this year to Gillette. They finally kind of get over the hump, at least in one sense. But they're a team. I looked back when the Frenzy Marathon was on over Thanksgiving, and I'm looking at Nipmuc. I'm looking at the power ratings when we were talking about it. Oh, yeah. You guys were in a lab wearing like goggles at one point.
Remember that year? That was fantastic.
Yeah, Nipmuc was 6-3.
We actually did show prep.
They were on. Yeah, Nipmuc was 6-3. They were on top of their division then. It just seems like Nipmuc was still a relatively young football program.
Yes.
Is at the top or right around there every year. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, Coach Hill and his staff deserve a lot of credit for that too. I mean, it's. They get the kids, they play a certain brand of football. That's physical, hard-nosed football, and the kids all buy into it. They all take a lot of pride into it, and like you said, it's a small school, so to have that success year after year is very difficult because they're not someone that has 110 kids in the program that can just roll over these, the next generation year after year. So it's a credit to the kids, but it's also a credit to Coach Hill and his staff and what they've set up and the foundation they've built over there.
All right, make an enemy right now. Who wins Nipmuc BVT this year if they're both at full strength and if they had played on Thanksgiving with their starters?
We'll get to that later, I guess.
I wish they did.
They're not going to play it later, right?
No, they should. No. Why not?
The Lacombe Bowl isn't going to happen.
No, I like the Lacombe Bowl.
If I had the money, if I win the mega bucks, the mega millions, it'll happen
next week. Maybe we could get one of these colleges to sponsor it and just so they could play on turf. Yeah. A week from Saturday, boom, play on. I think it'd be awesome. And again, we talked about this too, in terms of them not playing on Thanksgiving. You know what? That's the system. Don't blame either coach or either team because the goal is to get to Gillette Stadium and to win a state championship. Neither one was going to play their starters. So Jim and I were talking about this. So do you want to play, you want to pay $10 or $15 to go to a freshman or JV game on Thanksgiving? It wouldn't be fair to the fans. And it's certainly, the coaches are doing what they're supposed to do the way the system's laid out. And that's win at Gillette Stadium, so you rest your starters. They weren't going to play starters versus starters.
Once I saw what the weather was supposed to be, and the team started moving games to Wednesday, which really made my week great.
It
was just, that was the move to make. It was the kids, like you said, it's going to be a freshman JV game for the most part. Let's keep the kids healthy for the playoffs. What you really want, win a state title. That's what the goal is. And it's just, like you said, a product of the system. Thanksgiving games are just for show now, so let's make the decision that's best for the program.
Right.
Who was the best team in Upton this year?
I don't know. I would settle it on the field. I would say you got to see those two go head to head on the field.
I'm going to go with Arch just to watch them throw something on the TV.
You're going to say Arch is the best team.
I think they get that win.
Nipmuc, I'll tell you what, big offensive line back. I'd like to see my man Yukon Cornelius with the red beard for BVT going back at him the other way. I'll tell you, that's a good matchup.
They both have tall receivers and defensive backs, and they could throw good, like one-on-one, hanging up and let them go.
Both are real good. Nipmuc returned. Brony's back next year. Gould's back next year. The quarterback's back. Judah Dishington's back next year. And Valley Tech is going to reload. He's going to find the kids to get it back in there again and piss off everybody because they're playing the division they shouldn't be playing in, and Arch loves that. So it'll be fantastic. Get his Twitter fingers going.
All right, so Jordan Namaro, right? Yep. Namaro's a young kid. He's coming back next year.
They'll be fine. They're great staff.
They're talented group all the way around. All right, so they didn't play on Thanksgiving. We think it'd be a close game.
Yeah, I think so.
There were some games that weren't close on Thanksgiving.
Right, a lot of them.
Some rivalries. Many weren't close.
Right.
Even Bartlett-Southbridge wasn't close. No. So that's still a very good rivalry. Prouty-Lester. Are there some Thanksgiving matchups? We have about a minute to play here.
Go ahead, Jim.
That need to reconsider where they're playing?
I like the ones that are historical and the ones that have been going on for 70 years or so. I'd hate to see them, I don't want to see Bartlett-Southbridge go away because I think it's important for the town. It still means something even though they're going 90, depending on which historian you look at. It's either 97, 98, 99 years, whatever they want to call it. We'll get that into another show. But I think I like those because I'm a history guy. I like the significance. But the ones that are new and they're just because they need their Thanksgiving game, let's get it competitive.
Okay.
Maybe trade some teams around. There's nobody to be worried about the fact that that rivalry's not happening anymore. We're 1-6 in that link. Let's move on.
All right, we got about 20 seconds, Kev. Bartlett-Southbridge is staying. St. John, St. Peter Marion?
Unless St. Peter's co-ops with Holy Name, which I think is going to happen this year. I think in the offseason this year you're going to hear an announcement. St. Peter's and Holy Name are going to co-op. If they don't, then the rivalry has to go away because it's a disservice to the St. Peter's kids and the St. John's kids. It's not competitive, and it's not safe. Okay. It's not safe.
All right, well, that's where we're going to have to end it, Jim. Thanks so much for being here.
There's so many more rivalries to take
I know, all year long. Appreciate it. Jim Wilson, Kevin Shea. We're back with more of The Frenzy right after this.